One dose is enough. This is the surprise coming in the COVID-19 data that was just dropped on Tuesday afternoon. And here to discuss, Dave Lashmet, editor of Venture Technology at Stansberry Research. Dave, welcome. What do we know?
Pfizer released some confidential data through the FDA. Now we can look at that data. It's no longer confidential. We can see that 10 days after the first dose, people who got Pfizer's vaccine almost never convert to COVID-19.
What does this really mean in terms of how many people can get the vaccine, Dave?
It really looks like one dose is going to do it for everyone in the vaccine trial who got the vaccine. So we have hard orders for 100 million doses of Pfizer's vaccine that comes in two groupings. The first grouping is essentially immediate. We'll get 50 million doses right away. And then 9 months from now, we'll get another 50 million doses. If we have to dose everyone twice, that 100 million doses covers 50 million people. If we can get away with one dose, that covers 100 million people. Meanwhile, there's a dose from Moderna, a vaccine from Moderna. We'll see data in about a week. And that essentially is going to produce identical data to Pfizer because it's an identical RNA with a slightly different wrapper. And in phase 1 trials, it had the same efficacy and the same side effect burden. So we suspect that we'll see almost identical data. In fact, we already know that the efficacy data is within like 0.1%. One's 93.7% effective, the other's 95% effective, but statistically, those are the same number.
I think what I'm hearing is that 200 million Americans could be vaccinated between the Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine by the end of next year if they each get a single dose, right?
Exactly correct. Moderna thinks that they'll have 125 million doses available, okay? When you add that to Pfizer's 100 million doses, that's 225 million doses. The FDA is looking for a vaccine for people 16 and over in the US, and that's essentially 225 million people. So we can get every college student, every high schooler, and everyone older with what we know we can get from Moderna and Pfizer within a year. If we have to give everyone 2 doses, it could take another year, which means we're in COVID hell not only through 2021, but through 2022, which means no restaurants, everyone wears masks, no football games indoors, everything will be controlled for 2 years if we give people 2 doses. But we know that there's a side effect burden. We know that the side effects are cut in half if you only give people 1 dose. And we know that it doubles the supply. And that supply number matches the number of people in the country who are over 16 if we give 1 dose.
So Dave, who makes the decision on whether Americans are required to get 1 dose or 2?
Technically, the FDA would recommend 1 dose or 2 doses.
And is there any reason to believe that they would not argue for 1 dose, given the fact that we have about exactly what we need to vaccinate the entire population that needs to be vaccinated with 1 dose with pretty decent efficacy and lower side effects?
So the FDA approves a drug based on whether the drug is safe and efficacious. The CDC, Health and Human Services, and the Office of the President ultimately decide on vaccine strategy. That's not actually up to the FDA. But if the FDA says we're okay with 1 dose, then all the upstream problems and downstream problems all disappear. If the FDA mandated that it was 2 doses, what we could do in 2021 pushes to 2022. So we think that the breaking news is that we now know that you can get away with 1 dose, which solves legions of problems.
Okay, great. Dave Lashmet with the breaking news there, the editor of Venture Technology and our resident expert on COVID-19 who's been very closely following the vaccine race. We thank you for your time and analysis. 1 dose, here we go. Let's see what happens. And if you'd like to see much more analysis from Stansberry Research, please follow us on these social media channels. That includes YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. I'm Jessica Stone.